come around the rear. It looks like we're going to be good, so I'm going to go ahead and get behind it. I guess if it falls, then I'll just have to cry about it later. All right, coming around this death trap here, about 2 feet down. Looks like we might make it. Okay, whoa, first try. Today we're building ourselves a Class 3 rig in 1/24 scale. We're using a Nerd RC stripe chassis. If you guys know the brand, you already know this one is limited, as you can tell. Paisley design, limited to 30 pieces. This is number 7. Let's go ahead, put it together, take it out, and have some fun. All right, so we're going to be building ourselves a Class 3 rig in 1/24 scale, and we're going to be using this right here. So this is a limited chassis. It was only limited to 30 pieces. He did 10 in black, I believe 10 in silver, and then he did 10 in this gold color here. They are numbered. This is number 7. It was my first choice. I thought I couldn't get it, but I ended up being able to at the end, so it worked out great. I was, right when it was released, I was on my computer trying to get it, and luckily I was able to get it sold out in a few minutes. So very cool that I was able to get one of those. Now, Nerd RC is a company I've been wanting to build a rig with in Class 3, so we finally have all the components together. I'm going to go over them briefly, and then we'll open them up here. But just to go over what's in the chassis and what you get in the box. So this is the box that comes in, and you get all of the components. We have a transmission in this bag we'll take a look at closer. We have all the components for the chassis as far as the skid and the transmission skid there. And then we have these links, these custom links from Nerd RC. He did anodize them to match the chassis, so they kind of look gold. They're not bronze, or they're not brass, but you can see that they're kind of a goldish color to match. And then we have our nice little letter there thanking us for our purchase from Nerd RC, from Josh, the owner. We have a bag of nerds that my daughters are probably going to fight over. We also have a very nice little banner that's going to sit very, very nicely on our little board or slash mini garage that we have set up. So we'll put that on there too. But very excited to get into it. Let's go ahead, sit down and break everything else apart as far as what we're going to install, get it put together, and then yeah, we'll see how it does on not only our Mountain Blox course, but our trailer that has a lot more obstacles and lines that are more difficult for something this size. So let's go ahead and roll into that. All right, let's take a closer look at everything we're going to be putting into this Nerd RC build. And again, this is going to be a Class 3 build using their stripe chassis. And again, let's just admire that nice paisley engraving, number 7. Limited to only 30 of these chassis. I really, really love this. And the color scheme I'm going to go with for the body is going to be, I think, black with maybe some gold windows. And I'll show you that body we're going to be putting on it right now. But that is the chassis there. And everything else in the box, we have, like I said, our nerds and this nice little flag that we're going to be putting here in the backdrop. So this banner, very cool. I am always happy to get these. If you guys have any you want me to put up, you know, feel free to send them my way. But there we go. That's what's in the box there. And that is the chassis. Let's take a look at the transmission, because this does have the transmission as well. And then I'll go over the motor that's going to be in it. But in this little bag, you also get the mount and link mount for the... You have 2 in here. I think one of them was messed up, so we have the second one in here. So we have the ability to mount the motor directly onto this with some adapters that I'll show you here. I don't want to lose those. So you can see that this is going to mount. I'm going to try to do this forward facing if we can, but let me get a little bit closer. You guys can see that. I'm going to get my lighting up a little better here. See if that helps. Go a little bit brighter there. I think that's good. So right here, you get a close look of that transmission. It's going to keep that motor nice and low. And then you do have the mounting system here that I'm going to use to get this transmission mounted to this skid right here. So we're going to put that on the side. That's pretty straightforward. Very nice. I've used the Crema transmission from Nacho chassis. I think this might sit a little bit lower than that, but we can compare that in a different video. But very nicely done by Nerd RC. I'm really excited to get that transmission installed. It's going to be very good, keeping that weight nice and low. So that's in that bag. And then with the chassis, let's see what else we got here. Looks like we have another skid plate. Let me see here. See if this one's different from that one. This one's a little bit more universal. So this came with the chassis in the same bag. We also have our skids here. Looks like it's ridged there. I don't know if I'm able to fit the body around that, but I sure will try to keep it nice and clean. And then we have our mounts here. So this doesn't have the ability to put the magnets, but I don't plan on running it like that. We're going to put a screw here and just use one of our hex nuts to keep that body in place. So I didn't know it came with this. I didn't open this up entirely to see that, but I'm very happy that it did, because that's exactly how I wanted to mount it anyway. So perfect. I have that already. And then we have the screws here. So wow, a lot of thought and effort in that. It has everything I need. I didn't need to purchase anything extra to mount that. So very cool. I thought I was going to have to purchase a mounting system for the body, but I don't have to. So I do like that. And given I'm not going to use magnets, since this is a class 3 and I've competed in a competition twice, it didn't go the way I planned because I did have a magnet mounted body and that body just flew off everywhere. So now that I've learned this class 3, I'm going a different route and it has all the mounting system I need. So nice little NerdRD sticker. See where I put that. Break hearts, not rigs. Yeah, I probably will break this, but at least we can fix it. Looks like we have some Velcro here. Cool, he includes that. That's very thoughtful, I like that. And looks like we have some NerdRC license plates in the bag. Get that out here. 2 NerdRC license plate that are 3D printed, so very small. 1/24 scale. Nice. So that is what's with the chassis. Let's go ahead and put that all back. We'll get that put together here in a little bit. Now we're going to get into the components. And again, this is just revolving around the striped chassis from NerdRC. Lunchbox crawlers competed with one of these at the Diamond Valley competition later in the year last year. And I went there and wow, that rig was awesome. So it inspired me to build my own NerdRC chassis, and that is what we're going to do here. We also have the Nexx Racing shocks. These are, I believe, 40, I got to double check, but I know I have at least a 40 in the rear and a 35 in the front. So you can see there's 2 different sizes in the bag. Usually what I run for most of my rigs. These are oil filled, and I'll be adding those to this build as well. Nexx RC is my go-to as far as shocks. For the wheels, now I did a little bit of research on ones I wanted. Again, I want to go with kind of a gold and black theme given the color of the chassis. Oh, you know what I forgot? Let's look at these links. These links are crazy. I usually use RC Steve links, but the links that come, or that you can purchase from NerdRC, they don't come with the chassis, but that you can purchase, are really, really well engineered, well rounded and machined. And yeah, just looking at it, you can already tell that it's going to have so much clearance. This is have a carrier bearing. I think I showed you guys that in the other bag, but if I didn't, it is carrier bearing, and I'll show you closer to look at that later. But check out this link, this rear link. This is the, I think this is the upper link. I don't know, we'll see here how I situate this. But yeah, these links are wild. Very, very well engineered. I can definitely tell that Josh nerded out for all of his stuff. And again, NerdRC, very fitting name. So you also have these links here. I believe these are lower links that are weighted. So these come pre-weighted already. So you can see that you do have an additional weight in the front. So this was built to win and competition in mind. That's what I really liked about NerdRC, is all the thought that goes into these builds. And again, this one's beautiful. So it should be a very beautiful beast that's capable. I think when I went to the Diamond Valley, my buddy won second. I can't remember. I have to check my video. I want to say he won second, maybe first. But he was using a chassis similar to this. So very, very nice links. I just think it's wild. I can't wait to get this on there and see what kind of clearance we have with that, along with that carrier bearing. So let's go ahead and put these on the side. those are the links that we purchased, and they were anodized to match the body. Oh, there, we do have the carrier bearing. I didn't take it out, but it is in there. I had those anodized to match the chassis, so that is an option on the website. You guys can have your links anodized in whatever voltage to get whatever colors that you like. So back to the wheels. Wanted to go with obviously a little bit of a goldish theme, and so I went with these Trio beadlock wheels. Now these, I'll weigh them, but on the website, there's the info there. On the website, they claim to be 38.6 or 38.7 grams each. These are all brass wheels, and I wanted something that was, oh, there we go, look at that. Take one of these out, we'll get a closer look. Wow, you can change the offset too, but these things are hefty, all brass. Look at that, very clean machining there with that brass accents along the side. Very, very nice. It's going to complement that chassis very nicely, I think. And then we can also change the offset with these, I believe. Or is this, let me see if this is installed or not. I can't remember. I just looked at it right now. Yeah, we can use it like that, or we can install these. So we'll see how that looks once I get it going, if I need to install this or not, but very nice. Wow, really like those. Those when I picked with the box with all four of them in there, this thing's heavy. So 38.7 grams. These are rated at on the website. I'll weigh them just to make sure. Actually, I have my corner weight scale, so we'll be actually weighing the entire build when we're done. I am using INJORA drive shafts. I do have a few different sets. I usually use, let me think about this, a Gladiator and a deadbolt. Usually have two deadbolts and a Gladiator. Looks like that's what I have here. So I'll have those installed as well. Since it is a carrier bearing, I needed extra. We, of course, are installing the NSDRC RS100. This is the best servo I've found for these little micros. Now, I don't have the servo horn here to show you, but I do have one somewhere in one of my boxes that we're going to be using. And I'll more than likely be installing the rear wire plate so that we can have that wire coming out the back, so we don't have it hanging up on anything. But that is the NSDRC RS100 we'll be putting in the build as well. We're going to be using the, right here, look at this motor. This RevTech motor, 3450 kV. So I'll put this nice little box. Really like the presentation on that. Look at that turquoise there it is. Little brushless motor we're going to be using for this build. Let's go pull it out of the bag. That little motor should sit very nicely on, let's see how this goes, on this transmission. So look at that. Little motor should be sitting nice and low. That's a winner right there. Wow. I've used this in my other build that I did with my Gladiator. If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. I put that in my little, actually I have it right here. You guys haven't seen it painted in the video, but check out that little body. My daughter loves Cinnamon Roll and she loves Pink Melody. Boom. Did both of them in one build. So she loves watching this thing crawl. She's not there to actually crawl it yet because her skills are, she's 7. She's working on her skills, but this one's ready for her whenever she's ready. But yeah, the VTech electronics work great, and I'm going to keep those in this build as well. We have the ESC right here ready to go, so that'll be installed with everything else. Let's see. Now, we have a lot of MEUS going into this, so let's go briefly over what's going on here. Obviously, we're going to use this transmitter here. I do like that it's very small, and it holds only 8, but, you know, I can just get different transmitters if I need. We have these, are new from MEUS, and I haven't used them yet. These are 1-inch tires, and again, I saw that they were new. I really want to try them. They look like they have some really good soft compound, very sticky. They have somewhat of a pin tread. See, it's got like an X and almost like an M and a little triangle. I don't know, but they seem to be like they look like they're gonna work well. Now that paired with those wheels, I think it's also gonna look very good. Now I'm not gonna use these foams. I have the MEUS soft pink inserts. You can see how soft those are right there. So we're gonna be putting those in there as well. I try to only use something that I can get like from factory, you know, to a certain extent from MEUS, because if somebody's looking for something, obviously there's a lot of guys out there who create their own, do their own 3D printing, and they have their own specs. But if somebody's wanting to get one off the shelf, we're going to test these out and see how they do in this setup. So those wheels with these inserts look promising. We're going to use this little, which one is this? I think this is the MB, let me see if I can see that here on the side. MB04 or M04B. Let's open this up real quick. I try to keep these on hand as much as I can, but at the rate that I build these crawlers sometimes, I don't have them in stock, so I had to order this. And they were back ordered. It took quite a while to get, so I ordered like 4 of them because you never know. So this is the M04B. Very small receiver there. Look at that. Super tiny. I try to get these as small as I can, so when I'm building these rigs, I have enough space to put the motor and the wiring where it needs to be. So MEUS there. We also have the MEUS V2 axles. I've used these again in my other build that I just showed you. So these are in the bag, but you can see that in the Pink Melody and Cinnamon Roll build that I have those installed in. You get tons of clearance with very minimal rubbing. I think, well, I have the endpoint set so I don't rub, but you can see how much degree of angle you have on that turn. So those are the same axles I'm installing on this build. So a lot of MEUS going into this. I think it's going to be great. So now the fun part that I've been waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and start putting this together. I won't draw it out by putting it together on camera, but if I have any issues, if I run into anything, I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get this thing put together. This chassis, this build, by far of all the ones I've done, is the, how do I even put this? It's just beautiful. Very simple and straightforward, and from being a class 3 build, like I mentioned, my first time working with Nerd RC, you can see kind of what that clearance looks like with their custom links. It is just, I don't even have the words, just beautiful. That paisley design with those anodized links, it is just spectacular. Like I said, I can't even think of the words to describe it, but it is just a thing of beauty, a piece of art. I don't even know if I want to crawl with it. No, I am definitely going to be testing this out. And again, building this rig for me was something, you know, showing support for the builder, Josh, and seeing this gold paisley, I had to get my hands on it, and I'm very happy that I did. So we're going to briefly go over what went into this in the sense of any issues that I had. I can say I didn't have any issues that stand out or that were too horribly bad. I did have to really do a little bit of research on getting these links situated on how they go, because they are proprietary to his chassis here. He does make his links, he does anodize them, so they do go in a particular manner. And since I haven't built one, I had to go and do a little bit of research, but this is how everything is supposed to be situated on the chassis. If I did something wrong, please let me know, but from what I gathered, this is how it goes together. But that is just a thing of beauty. All that clearance underneath should allow me to get up and over pretty much anything that I want as far as rocks or our course that we have here. I did really enjoy putting this together. I'm just trying to think real quick if I had any issues. Even the carrier bearing, some of the other ones that I've put together tend to have a little bit of issues getting this all fit together. You have to shave things down. I didn't have to shave anything on this, surprisingly. And with those links that are, or the drive shafts that I purchased from NJORA, it all went together very, very smoothly. So nothing as far as complaints there. I did run low on the gold screws. I needed to order some more from Nexx Racing parts, so if you look closely here and there, you'll see some that are silver, like right there. But everything on this just goes together so perfectly. Like I said, I'm very proud of this build. As far as the wheels, I mentioned that these are about, I think, 36 grams. I mentioned before, these Trio wheels that are all brass. I do have my scale out, so I'm going to go ahead and get this on the scale so that we can see what the weight bias is for the front and the sides. Now, before I do that, I'm going to show you guys the body. Oh, just dropped one of my scales. Hopefully it doesn't mess it up too badly. But I did have a little bit of issue painting the body. The body is made by Axial, and it is, I'll show you guys right now. Let me just set these scales up right here. And the issue was that I did clean it, but apparently there was a little bit of oil or some kind of residue on one of the fenders as I was painting it from the inside. So after a little bit of struggle and looking how horrible we painted inside there trying to fix it, I decided to go ahead and paint it on the outside. I've done it before, and it came out very, very nice. I'm going to throw the body on and show you what it looks like with the body. I decided to go all blacked out with the gold windows there. I did put the stickers on, and it looks pretty decent with the stickers, a little border there. But other than that, that matte black came out really nice. I do like that. Cutting the body was very straightforward. It's kept the lines of the chassis. But let me go ahead and throw the battery on so we can get a measurement as far as weight. Now, I'm not sure if I went over too in-depth on the pricing, but just real quick, as we're here about to put the battery on, this is an Enlightened RC battery, 3S, very small, and it fits on the side right here, and that'll allow the body and everything else to fit as well. As you guys can see, the wiring's very nicely tucked with that VTEC motor there. I do have the ESC running right there in the front, just below the mount there for the front pin, and you see that beautiful NSDRC RS100. But as far as the cost of this stripe chassis, now this was limited, so you won't be able to get your hands on this particular gold paisley chassis. There was only 30 made, but he does sell the stripe chassis in general, so you guys can get your hands on that. I believe he's doing a release of it here soon if he hasn't already. Now this one cost $90, given it was limited with that engraving. And the links on this, so the links on this are the Stripe Hybrid V2 links. They're $51. The gadget transmission, which let me make some notes on that. Let me take this battery off. That transmission is very low profile, keeps that motor very low to the chassis. All that weight right here in this area down low is going to serve its purpose as far as making this a very capable class 3 rig. So I'm excited to see how it does with that. And then of course we're going to take a look at the weight bias right now. I do feel very heavy here in the front. As far as the anodization, if you want to get these to match your chassis, is $20 additional. And then as far as the link transmission anodizing, is $10 extra. So if you guys want to kind of have it all match and look good, I do recommend it. It does make a difference. As far as the battery, like I said, Enlightened RC makes some great little batteries for your rigs if you want to keep it lightweight and you don't have that much room to work with. Those work awesome. So let's go ahead and turn this transmitter on here. And we have this as the Nerd RC build. So let's go ahead and place that there. We're going to, well, before we plug that in, let's put the body on. We're going to take some weights here. Let's plug it in. I want to take the body off again. We'll just have to let it on while I'm weighing it. All right. And like I said, I am really excited to get this out on our course. There are builds that I've done that do extremely well. Some that I have that do, halfway decent. And they can make it over some of the really hard lines on the Mountain Blox course. This one, I have a feeling is going to do well on everything. My only concern is I've never used these MEUS wheels or these MEUS inserts. I'm usually running J-Concept ruptures, and this is the first time I'm running these MEUS tires with these MEUS pink inserts. So we'll see how that goes, but let's turn on our scales so that we can get a good idea as far as the weight. Let's go to our app here and turn that on so that we can be ready to go. I have a ton of apps. Probably should clean up my apps on my phone. I'm sure that'll make a big difference for me as far as getting things done. All right, we're going to go and turn that corner weight system on. We're going to turn on left front here, right front. Get that kind of situated. We're going to do right rear and left rear. I think we got those flipped. Just move that around right there. Let's kind of measure where about this is going to sit. All right, so it's right about there. Want to keep these wheels as center as possible. Let's do that. All right. So we have those on the most part, ready to go. Let's get this app going. Everything's zeroed out. Let's go ahead and set this guy on the scales. All right, let's take a closer look at this here. So what do we have? We have this. Let's see if I can get this on the screen. All right, so we have about a, for that to settle down, I think I touched it. It's pretty steady there. So let's see here. I think we're gonna call it good there. Let's screenshot that so we have that, and then we'll just go back to it and take a look so we're not having things jump around on us, and I can take this off. So on our weight, we have 61% in the front, 39% in the back. So we have 374.2 grams in the front from the axle, the tires, everything we have there. And in the rear, it's 39%. We have 243.4 grams. So I would say that's a pretty nice weight bias. I may be a little bit too heavy in the front, but we'll see how that plays out on the course. As far as the left weight and the right weight, we can see here that it is a tad bit heavier on the left side, and I believe that is the side I'm running my battery, so that makes sense. Other than that, it's not too bad as far as left and right. On the right side, I'm running the ES, well, the ESC is in the middle. I'm running the receiver, and all that wiring for the motor goes on that side, on the right side, so I think that's really kind of help even it out with that battery. So again, that battery's not too heavy, it's not very big at all, but we can see here that it did show here on the scales. Total weight, 617.6 grams. I would say that's a pretty hefty build there for being a 24 scale, and I want to say it's going to translate very well on our course. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. We'll move these to the side after we turn them off. So very cool. I really am enjoying seeing what these things weigh and the bias that we get out of them as far as the front and rear, and then side to side. I mean, even that makes a difference as I'm trying to place the battery. I want to keep everything kind of even. So I'm very happy I did make that purchase. But again, taking a look at this with the body on, it's just very aggressive looking, very nice with that gold in the wheels there. And then let's take a look at the front. What I did here was just a nice little cut, took that grill out, and you can see that the NSDRC servo sits perfectly in that cutout. So I have the battery in there, so we're going to take a look at the steering. Now, if you guys are familiar with MEUS, you guys already have an idea of how great it is. I've already adjusted the endpoint, so I don't really have too much rubbing at all, or any at all. So I have it set to right where it's about to rub a little bit on the chassis, so I don't have any rubbing. So that right there should be great for the course and making some of those hard lines. So I think we're pretty much ready to take this build out. If you guys are looking for anything that's class 3 and you guys are on the fence about different brands, I highly recommend Nerd RC just for me holding it on the table, the ease of the build. And again, the owner totally nerds out when he's building this because you can just tell from the chassis, looking at it, and even these weights here on these links. I mean, nobody's doing that from what I know that I've seen in this style. So he's already pre-added those weights for you. So all of that taken into consideration, it is just a beautiful, beautiful build. Again, very happy that I went with this, and hopefully I'll be happy here soon that it translates very well into the course. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Let's take this guy out. You guys already know that I use a VTEC in one of my other builds and a few others, so we already know this thing's got a super slow crawl, just creeping. Look at that. I don't know what I'm going to call this one. I'm going to call it Black Betty. I'm not sure. Be a good song to play as we're crawling along, but this thing looks mean. I'm not sure how I feel about those stickers and the fake windshield wipers, but these tires, again, it's my only concern. We'll see. I know this isn't a video on these tires, but it is the first time I'm using them. We'll see how they grip onto the course. But that chassis, you know, I don't know. Let's go ahead and just take it out. I'm talking about it for no reason. Let's go.